crisis at Marvel. Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvel's reshoots reviving original Avengers, and more issues revealed, says Tatiana Siegel. Right. And a cool draw picture. I was looking at this and I thought, I like this. Somebody's gone to a lot of effort to draw this, haven't they? But anyway. Right. Off we go. This past September, a group of Marvel creatives, including studio chief Kevin Feige, I know I always say that, assembled in Palm Springs for the studio's annual retreat. Most years. Make it sound like the meeting for drinks, doesn't it? You know, annual retreat. Or, if you want to be darker, like some Bohemian Grove style shenanigans where they're sacrificing people. Most years the vibe would have been confident, even cocky, given how the premier superhero brand, owned by Disney since 2009, has remade the entertainment business in its image. But this occasion was angst-ridden. Everyone at Marvel was reeling from a series of disappointments on screen, a legal scandal involving one of its biggest stars. If they're on about Jonathan Majors, he's not one of its biggest stars yet. It was set to become one of its biggest stars. Fingers crossed. They were all saying he was going to be, but nobody seems to like him, apart from, actors and producers. But everybody else doesn't seem to like him. Anyway, whatever. And questions about the viability of the studio's ambitious strategy to extend the brand beyond movies into streaming. The most pressing issue to be discussed at the retreat was what to do about Jonathan Majors, the actor who had been poised to carry the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but instead is headed to a high-profile trial in New York later this month on domestic violence charges. The actor insists he is the victim, but the damage to his reputation and the chance he could lose the case has forced Marvel to reconsider its plans to centre the next phase of its interlocking slate of sequels, spin-offs and series around Major's villainous character Kang the Conqueror. I don't think they should fire him or anything like that. Not yet. Let him have his trial and then see what happens. And if he's found guilty, then fair enough. Get rid of him. But if he's found innocent, then fair enough. But that's not how it works, is it, these days? There's, the court of public opinion and all that, isn't there? Pardon me. Just to be accused of something is enough for you to lose your job. Which is quite sad, really. Which is quite sad. Anyway. We're going to put the links, won't I, for the stream in the chat. I'll do that now. Just bear with me. I forgot to do it. Spelled that right, probably. Link to join if you want to join in the stream is now in the chat. Well, in the YouTube chat. At least. Right, where were we? At the gathering in Palm Springs, executives discussed backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom. Victor Von Doom, isn't it? But making any shift would carry... I sound like I know all about him. As I've said before, I've never been a big comic person, particularly Marvel and DC. Never been... I was a 2000 AD kid growing up. But anyway, making any shift would carry its own headaches. Majors was already a big presence in the MCU, including as the scene-stealing antagonist in February's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which I've still not seen. And he has been positioned as the franchise's next big thing in this season of Loki, particularly in the finale, which airs on November 9th, and sets up Kang as the titular star of the fifth Avengers film in 2026. The Kang Dynasty, or Dynasty, if you're American. But I don't know why people are freaking out over Jonathan Majors as Kang, because from what I've seen, well, I've seen him in Loki season 1 at the end, and in this season of Loki, he hasn't been very good, to be honest. I don't know what people see in him. But anyway. Marvel is... swear words. Marvel is truly effed with the whole Kang angle. I only swear when I'm playing games. says one top deal maker who has seen the final Loki episode and they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite until very recently because of the WGA strike, and I don't see a path to how they move forward with him. Beyond the bad press for Majors, the Brain Trust at Marvel is also grappling with the November release of The Marvels, a sequel to 2019's blockbuster Captain Marvel that has been played. But was it a blockbuster? I suppose technically, yeah, it was, but it was only a huge hit because it fell in between Infinity War and Endgame. That's the only reason it was a huge hit, wasn't it? You know, the mid-credit scene in Infinity War that, you know, teased Captain Marvel, didn't it? Anyway, but apart from that, it's a crap film. Anyway, Wingres says, I was disappointed with him in Loki season 1. It was nothing but a conversation which was acted well, but a lot of vague sentiment. Yeah, like I said, we're just people in a room talking, and then one of them getting killed, and that's what it wanted. It didn't seem particularly villainous or threatening. You know, no Thanos, was he? Or even, you know, Baddie Loki. Baddie Loki stole the room he were in, wasn't he? Wherever he was. And remember, this is supposed to be Baddie Loki that we're dealing with. This is the Loki that ripped an eye out of a fella's head and tried to, you know, take over New York and, well, the Earth at the Battle of New York and all that. This is that Loki who's suddenly a goodie after them showing him a few videos of, you know, how his other self acted. Anyway, whatever. I forgot where I was now. Anyway, whatever. This is all an unprecedented turn of fortune for a company that has enjoyed a nearly uninterrupted string of hits ever since it started independently producing its movies with 2008's Iron Man, which is an amazing film, I think. That wildly profitable run, apart from the end. I wasn't keen on the end of Iron Man, but up until, you know, the final showdown with what's his face, Jeff Bridges. You know, it was cool until then, but I wasn't keen on the end. But anyway, that wildly profitable run culminated in the $2.8 billion success of 2019's Avengers Endgame, a high watermark for the studio that has earned nearly $30 billion over 32 films. Is that true? The films may have made that much, $30 billion, but the studio wouldn't get all that, would it? The theatres and all that, they get their cut, don't they? But so we'll say, you know, they might have got half of that, which is, you know, not to be sniffed at. It was fairly threatening in Quantumania, but I mean, I don't want to spoil it. But don't worry, I'm probably not going to see it. I haven't seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever either yet. Is there another one, or is that it? Is that what we're up to so far? Oh, no, I haven't seen Thor Love and Thunder. I started watching it, and I got to see Thor doing the splits at the beginning, and I thought, nah, turn it off. Right, where were we? Replicating that kind of phenomenon is never easy. However, the source of Marvel's current troubles can be traced back to 2020. That's when the COVID pandemic ushered in a mandate to help boost Disney's stock price with an endless torrent of interconnected Marvel content for the studio's fledgling streaming platform Disney+. According to the plan, there would never be a lapse in superhero fare, with either a film in theatres or a new television series streaming at any given moment. Yes, I saw Guardians 3, yes, and I really enjoyed that. There may have been some lip quivering going on watching that one. Yes, Guardians 3 were excellent, I really like that one. Where were we? But the ensuing tsunami of spandex proved to be too much of a good thing. Or was it? And the demands of churning out so much programming taxed the Marvel apparatus. Moreover, the need to tease out an interwoven storyline over so many disparate shows, movies and platforms created a muddled narrative that baffled viewers. Because they were trying to interweave a bit too much, really, weren't they? In the early days, they just used to tack on, you know, an end credit scene that led into the next film. But it didn't really have anything to do with the rest of the film, did it? You know, like at the end of, I can't remember which one it was now, where they found Thor's hammer in the middle of the desert and stuff like that. And the end of Hulk, Incredible Hulk, where he just talks to Tony Stark in the bar, doesn't he? Does not the Hulk, the other fella, the General Ross or something like that. But anyway, right, whatever. But they tried to, interweave it a bit too much, and it did get a bit confusing, I suppose. If you're going in cold and not following it. Right. The Marvel machine was pumping out a lot of content. Did it get to the point where there was just too much and they were burning people out on superheroes? It's possible, says Wall Street analyst Eric Handler, who covers Disney. The more you do, the tougher it is to maintain quality. They tried experimenting with breaking in some new characters like Shang-Chi and Eternals with mixed results. To be honest, I didn't mind them two films. I didn't mind them at all. Shang-Chi were okay, apart from, what does Mexican Iron Man call it? Chicken Rabbit, apart from that. And, other plot contrivances that were in it, I thought they were convenient. But for a fun action superhero-ish film, fantasy, a fun fantasy adventure, I quite enjoyed Shang-Chi, and the same for Eternals. I thought that was a fun, fantasy adventure film, just not a very good Marvel film. And nobody in the Marvel universe mentions that there's a huge alien sticking out of the Indian Ocean or somewhere. But anyway. With budgets as big as these, you need home runs. Yes, you do. The Marvels, and they were kind of expecting that each time, weren't they? They were expecting $1 billion with each film, and it's not happening anymore, is it? And Josh Temple's here. Hello, Josh Temple. Welcome to the show. Oh, hang on. I'll do it again. Hang on, where are we? Anyway, Shang-Chi, says Wingrace, was a good film in the vein of Phase 1 or 2. Sadly, people have grown to expect more and don't want to go backwards. I thought it was fun enough. Yes, Amy, I thought it was quite good. Apart from Rabbit Chicken. And the slight plot contrivances, that just happened to send them in the right direction or whatever. I've only seen it once. But it was fine, Wasn't as bad as everybody made it out to be. Anyway, where were we? Forgot where I was now. Home runs, that's where I was. The Marvels, which opens in theatres on November 10th, will struggle to get the ball past the infield. Is that a baseball term? I don't know. At least by Marvel's outsized standards. Oh yes, because the home runs, that's a baseball thing. I only know that because I've played Wii Sports. Anyway, the movie, which cost $250 million, apparently it's more than that, but don't know, probably upwards of $300 million. Crazy money in it. And sees Brie Larson reprising her role as Captain Marvel, is tracking to open to $75 million to $80 million, far below the $185 million Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness took in domestically in its debut weekend last year. I'm not a big fan of Doctor Strange. I'm not a big fan of the first Doctor Strange film, to be completely honest. I've never really been a Doctor Strange fan. Although I did quite like the 1978 version. Because it had, like, lightning coming out of fingers and stuff like that. That's what I like. But I did quite like that. Where were we? Directed by Nia DaCosta, The Marvels unites Larson's heroine with two superpowered allies. Teyonah, is that how you pronounce Teyonah? I don't know. Teyonah Parris's Monica Rambeau, introduced in the 2021 Disney Plus series WandaVision, where she just got powers by walking through a force field. And is she called Photon? Something like that. No. And Iman Vellani is Kamala Khan, first seen in the 2022 series Miss Marvel. Or is it Ms. Marvel? which I quite liked, to be honest. I quite liked the Ms. Marvel series. I thought we're okay. But I don't understand, why is her symbol like an S? Or, like, what? I don't understand why Ms. Marvel's... Why is it an M? Don't know. I like Dr. Fate from Black Adam better. It's another film I haven't seen, Black Adam. But with Dr. Fate, spoilers, if I'm right, I don't know. Pierce Brosnan, I don't know. But I haven't got around to watching it yet. Right. And I haven't watched the other one either that came out a bit after it, or before it, Shazam 2. I haven't got around to watching that yet either. Dear. It's supposed to be lightning bolt, not an S. Well, it looks like an S. Doesn't look like a lightning bolt. Not to me, anyway. Should be an M. But then if it were like an M, it would look like she was sponsored by McDonald's, wouldn't it? Anyway, where were we? Ms. Marvel. But instead of seamlessly building on the success of Captain Marvel, this move resulted in 4 weeks of reshoots to bring coherence to a tangled storyline. Then eyebrows were raised again when DaCosta began working on another film while the Marvels were still in post-production. The filmmaker moved to London earlier this year to begin prepping for her Tessa Thompson drama Heather. Oh, crack it. Heather. A representative for DaCosta declined to comment. If you're directing a $250 million movie, and the rest, it's kind of weird for the director to leave with a few months to go, says a source familiar with the production. It's a Marvel film, isn't it? The directors are just there to point at the actors and say your lines there, stand there, say your lines, and then we'll move on. And, they have to put up with the special effects people with them silver balls that they walk around with, and they just, do that, and then it's out of their hands afterwards, isn't it? It's not like, they're not like proper directors, are they? They're like directors from a TV show, I suppose. Once they've done their bit, it goes to the series producers, I suppose, to finish it off and do the, oversee the effects and the music and all that stuff, and the editing. That's what I reckon. But anyway, Wingrace says, Black Adam was good, but more of a pre-MCU type of film. Shazam 2 was fun, if not anything at all that unique. So I'll have to get around to it, because I quite like Shazam 1. But I've heard Shazam 2, it's supposed to be, further on, he's been Shazam for a while now, as I forgot his name now, Billy, whatever he's called. But when he changes into Shazam, into, the adult, he's acting more childish than the kid. But anyway, I don't know if that what it was like in the comic, I don't know. Josh says, same, started with a new diet today, so kind of being all that. Oh, sorry, that's talking about other things. Anyway, I should be on a diet. I should be, but I'm not. Where were we? The Marvels has seen its release date moved back twice too. Once to swap places with Quantumania, which was deemed further along, and again when its debut shifted from July to November to give the filmmakers more time to tinker, but that extra time didn't necessarily help. In June, Marvel, which traditionally only solicits feedback from Disney employees and their friends and families, took the uncharacteristic step of holding a public test screening in Texas. The audience gave the film middling reviews. Oh, there's another cool picture. In the like they're being shot at, into shots fired, I suppose you could say. But Marvel has never been in the business of being average. Kevin's real superpower, his genius. Is he a genius though? As always, because remember, before the MCU started, it didn't really start with Iron Man. It kind of did, didn't it? But he'd done a lot of Marvel films before that, hadn't he? Been a producer, in various levels, for years and years before that. I think even the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films and all them. But nobody would call him a genius then, were they? Anyway, where were we? Genius has always been in post-production and getting his hands on movies and making sure that they finish strongly, the source adds. Excuse me. These days, he's spread thin. Feige declined to comment for this story. But yeah, he's spread thin because he's like the boss now, isn't he? He's the boss of all Marvel. So if he's the boss of everything, movies, TV, comics, why don't you delegate? That's what bosses are supposed to do, isn't it? Delegate so you're not spread too thin. That's bad leadership, isn't it? That's bad leadership. Anyway, I was going to say something else and I can't remember what it was now. Can't have been important. But yeah, if he's spread too thin. But back before he became the almighty, that's what I'm going to say. Remember the days when John Campion used to call him our Lord and Master Kevin Feige and stuff like that? Back in the days when the MCU were good. That's what he used to say, didn't he? He used to call him the John Campion. I can't watch him anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah, but it took me head in. Anyway, Feige isn't the only person showing signs of strain. Marvel's entire VFX battalion, including staffers and vendors, is struggling to keep pace with a never-ending stream of productions. This past February, when the credits rolled at the world premiere of Quantumania, shock rippled through the Regency Village Theatre in Westwood over some shoddy CGI. There were at least 10 scenes where the visual effects had been added at the last minute and were out of focus, says one veteran power broker who was there. It was insane. I've never seen something like that in my entire career. Everyone was talking about it. Even the kids of executives were talking about it. So there's a bit of hyperbole going on there. It's a bloody film. It's like we're talking about when doing during the Magnificent Mondays with Knowing and all that. Yeah, I think they expect too much from special effects these days. They've got to be too realistic, haven't they? But give them a bit of artistic license and a bit of romance, and But whatever, they've got to be perfect, haven't they? The schedule swap with the Marvels had left the Ant-Man sequel as something like, and they're not rubbish. It's not like Lawnmower Man sort of CG. Then it's fine in my book. The schedule swap with the Marvels had left the Ant-Man sequel in a squeeze, pushing up its post-production schedule by 4.5 months. Marvel films are known for coming down to the wire, given Feige's ability to foam the runway and land a plane that way, says one executive familiar with how the company operates. But this level of unfinished was unprecedented and will be noted in scathing reviews when the tentpole with the $200 million budget opened 11 days after the premiere. Critics weren't the only ones dismayed. Fed up with 14-hour days and no overtime. 14-hour days. And no overtime. Marvel VFX workers voted unanimously to unionize in September, sparking an industry-wide trend. So Marvel VFX workers, but how many do the people that work on the VFX in the film, do the Marvel ones contribute to? Because you watch the end credits, there's like a dozen different VFX companies, isn't there, doing various special effects, visual effects, whatever, not special effects, visual effects for the film and CG and all that. So what the Marvel ones, how many are there? And why haven't we heard from the other companies that that Marvel farms out all this work to? Anyway. Windgrace says, I like special effects that have to be figured out with creativity, even when they look janky. Well, yeah, at least because they've made an effort. They've made an effort. And they've done their best with what they had available. But like I said, these days, when they're throwing money, like I said, $200 million at a film and more, because now they're saying that, they're like Force Awakens budget for that were like $450 million or something like that. You think, bloody hell. Bloody hell. Anyway. Right, the year 2023 was the straw that broke the camel's back, says former Marvel Studios VFX Assistant Coordinator Anna George, who appeared before the Congressional Labour Caucus. What's a caucus? On October 19th to testify about the studio's untenable deadlines and working conditions. The pay and long hours at Marvel were the reason we had to start our unionisation process there. The conditions were completely unsustainable. Yeah. If it's like, if you are working, if it goes on and on and on with no end in sight, where you're having to put in those hours every day, then yes, something's got to be done about it. But anyway, right. Disney's top brass, including newly returned, but why are they going before Congress? I don't know. Why can't they just work it out, with the company? Obviously not. Disney's top brass, including newly returned CEO Bob Iger, newly returned. He never went anywhere. He was just like lurking in the background and then just sprang forward again and got rid of Chapek, didn't he? Anyway. Bob Iger was said to be apoplectic about Marvel's VFX troubles. I love that word, apoplectic. It makes me think, whoa! I can't imagine Bob Iger doing that. 1 month after the Quantumania premiere debacle, the guillotine fell on Victoria Alonso. Yay! Who oversaw the studio's physical production, post-production, VFX and animation. While the reason cited for her abrupt firing was her unauthorized role as an executive producer on the Oscar-nominated film Argentina 1985, insiders say Disney was incensed that quality control on its Marvel productions was plummeting, particularly on the ever-expanding TV front. The VFX logjam had been evident for some time, with some final effects for such Disney Plus series as WandaVision and She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I liked WandaVision, apart from that last episode. But up until then, I really liked it, because I'm an Elizabeth, what's-her-face, simp. And She-Hulk Attorney at Law, which were terrible. Apart from the episodes with, I forgot her name, that ditzy woman in it. I enjoyed that. Inserted after their streaming debuts, that Alonso was busy promoting her art house project while Rome burned certainly didn't sit well with Disney's leadership. Alonso's attorney says her client is unable to comment. Nobody wants to comment, do they? Hey, yeah, says Wingrace. WandaVision was great, but dropped the ball by going back on the experimental formula. Yeah, I enjoyed WandaVision. I thought it was good. Like I said, apart from that last episode, where we learned that she'd, spoilers, she'd held an entire town hostage. Had any of them died? Kids apparently locked in rooms for an unspecified amount of time. And the basically torturing an entire town, and they wanted to die, didn't they? They said they begged her to kill them and to release them from their torment. And then Monica Rambeau came up and said, "They'll never know what you did for them." Unbelievable. And then she became a baddie. Anyway, I forgot where I was now. There we go. But something there at the top. There are also a few loose threads it never finished. I can't bloody remember. Can't remember. Oh, like the beekeeper guy. I can't remember that bit. Honestly, I can't remember. Where did what's his face go? I forgot his name now. Him that Vision. Where did White Vision go? He just flew off, didn't he? And we haven't seen him since, have we? I don't know. Unless he pops up in the films I haven't seen. But he just buggered off, never came back. Right. But some internal sources suggest Alonso was a scapegoat and point to the She-Hulk VFX issues as a symptom of a deeper rot, namely a lack of oversight on script development. In the original arc of She-Hulk, a flashback of star Tatiana Maslany's transformation, pardon me, excuse me, into her Hulk character didn't take place until episode 8, the penultimate episode. But after Marvel's Brain Trust watched footage, it realised the scene needed to happen in the pilot episode so that audiences could see more of the character's backstory early. That meant the VFX team was tasked with fixing the mess in post-production. Vision, it was supposed to be in Doctor Strange, but they cut him for time. Did they? Oh, right, okay. Right. Sorry, I know you're talking in the chat, Josh and Wingris, but I don't want to, if you're talking amongst yourself, I don't want to put it up on screen, you see. You're talking about health issues and stuff, aren't you? But best of luck, Josh. I hope you do well. The so-called bad VFX we see was because of half-baked scripts, says one person involved with She-Hulk. This is not Victoria, that is Kevin, and even above Kevin. And he was even in it, wasn't he? Because they made him into a computer, an AI or whatever. Those issues should be addressed in pre-production. The timeline is not allowing the Marvel executives to sit with the material. All the while, Marvel was bleeding money, with a single episode of She-Hulk costing some $25 million. And they were only like 30-minute episodes, weren't they? That's even worse. And then, checking off the credits, call it 20 minutes. 20-minute episode for $25 million. Unbelievable. Dwarfing the budget of a final season episode of HBO's Game of Thrones, but without a similar zeitgeist bang. The August 2022 series premiere at the El Capitan Theatre foreshadowed what was to come 6 months later at the Quantumania Bow. The She-Hulk special effects were out of focus in multiple scenes. What does it mean, out of focus? Does it mean, low res, badly rendered, or like a beta state? Is that what they mean? Not fully rendered. I'm guessing that's what they mean. But I don't know. There are signs that the flood of product is leading people to tune out. Yes, that's what it is, product, innit? Tune in, watch product, and then get ready for next product, as Red Letter Media famously said. Wingris says, I need to confess, I never watched a moment of Game of Thrones outside of clips people have shown in streams. I like Game of Thrones, but, I'm not a massive fan of it, but I did enjoy watching it. It's kind of changed. I don't know what. I think when it got massive, it started out as quite a restrained series at first. It talked about battles going on, and you just saw the aftermath. But then as the series went on, when we got to like seasons, 5 and 6 or 6 and 7, whatever, they were putting big battles on the screen, weren't they, that were costing millions and millions to produce. But the early seasons, you didn't see a lot of that. You just saw the aftermath of battles usually. Anyway, but it's good. I enjoy Game of Thrones, and I like House of the Dragon as well. That's good. What are you saying, Josh? What are you saying? No, you're fine. I'm not saying. I don't want to accidentally click on something that you don't want putting up on screen. That's all I'm mentioning it for. Personal stuff. That's basically what I'm talking about. But but carry on. And as I said, hope your efforts go well. I like it. I like House of Dragon better so far. Yes, I like House of the Dragon. Can't wait for season 2. I just wish it didn't take so long for them to make TV series these days. Remember the days when they used to bang out a series of 24 episodes every year? Those days are long gone, aren't they? Because they don't know how to make TV anymore. They're making, mini films, aren't they? Anyway. Wingris says, I probably would have gone back to Game of Thrones after hearing of the ending. I'd lost any interest. Yeah, season 8 wasn't good. It wasn't good at all with season 8. Up to then, it was fine. I enjoyed it, but then season 8, it were rushed, and you could tell. Because they were promising for season 8, they were saying, no, there's not going to be as many episodes, but they're going to be longer, like feature-length episodes. And then they won't, were they? Because Dan and Dave, the showrunners, thought they were going off to Lucasfilm to make Star Wars, weren't they? And then that didn't happen. But so they buggered up Game of Thrones. Anyway, right. Where were we? Product. There are signs that the full flood of product is leading people to tune out. I'm not prepared to call it a permanent fall, but based on the numbers that go with Marvel podcasts, Marvel-based articles, friends who do Marvel-based video coverage, all of these numbers are significantly down, says Joanna Robinson, co-author of the New York Times bestseller MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios, which is a big like coffee table book, isn't it? Who is a writer and podcaster at The Ringer. Never heard of it. The quality is suffering. In 2019, at the peak, if you put Marvel Studios in front of something, people were like, oh, that brand means quality. Yeah, pretty much. That associate, because people look forward to the next Marvel film, didn't they? Back when they were good. That association is no longer the case because there have been so many projects that felt half-baked and undercooked. But remember, not every Marvel film, they weren't all treated equally, were they? Like Thor 2. A lot of people didn't like Thor 2. For his dark something or other, wasn't it? But I quite liked it. But a lot of people didn't like that one. And of course, Incredible Hulk. But that was the second one, wasn't it? The second of the MCU films before there were an MCU. But anyway. Where are we? These 6-episode seasons are a crime. Yeah, they seem to be getting less and less as well now, don't they? They seem to be going for the 6 episodes now. A lot like we do over here. A lot of TV series made in Britain are generally 6 episodes. For some reason. I don't know why. They just are. They seem to be going for that. I'd much rather have 24-episode season with half the episodes being cheap money saves. But realistically, I would say 12 is probably more doable. Yeah. Because in the days, when you had like Star Trek and stuff like that doing like 24, 25 episodes a season, a lot of them were filler, weren't they? A lot of episodes that nowadays you'd probably skip, wouldn't you? But anyway. You just like Eccleston. It were alright, innit? It were alright in G.I. Joe. I don't mind Christopher Eccleston. It's just a bit of a knob. The way he's treated Doctor Who fans. But anyway. I'd accept the 12 if they would just stick to it. But it was the 24, then 12, and mid-season break, then 12, then just 12, then 6. It's wrong. Anyway. I mean, the last season of 24 didn't even have 24 episodes, did it? I think that had, I can't remember how many it had. Did it have 12? Because it skipped. It moved 12 hours, didn't it, or something like that? In the day. Anyway. I forgot what I want to. Oh, there. I've read that answer. Right. I liked him in Heroes because he played the Invisible Man. I can't remember. I watched Heroes as well, and I can't remember what happened in it. And then when he decided not to come back, they just showed him as being unseen. I can't remember. I say I only watched Heroes through once, so I can't really remember much of what happened in that. I just remember the cheerleader, obviously. And Hero, because he's called Hero, but whatever. And of course, Spock were in it, wasn't he, as the baddie. Right, as public criticism mounts, Feige is pulling the plug on scripts and projects that aren't working. Case in point, the Blade reboot with Mahershala. Is that how you pronounce it? Mahershala? I don't know how you pronounce it. Ali signed on for the eponymous role of a vampire. As kind of half vampire. The Daywalker. Things looked promising for a 2023 release date, but the project has gone through at least 5 writers, 2 directors, and one shut down 6 weeks before production. 5 writers, 2 directors, and 1 shut down 6 weeks before production. No, it's not Christmas, is it? I can't sing Christmas songs yet. It's not December. I'll get into trouble. One person familiar with the script permutations says the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. Obviously. It's the pandaverse, isn't it? Put in a woman, make a gay and lame. Anyway. Season 1 is really the only memorable one. Imagine my surprise when I realised Captain Rios was from Heroes. What? Oh, right. I had forgotten. Yes, so have I. I only remember the. Remember Hero and the what's her face? That said the cheerleader, whose name I can't remember, but she was in Scream, wasn't she? One of the Scream films. And and that film Until Dawn, she was in that. I can't remember her name. That game. There's a film. That game Until Dawn, and and Spock. Zachary Quinto were in it. That's all I remember about Heroes. Oh, there were another fellow, weren't there? Who I've seen in other things. I can't remember either, but never mind. I can see him in my head. Anyway, where were we? Life lessons, right. Blade was relegated to the 4th lead. A bizarre idea, considering that the studio had 2-time Oscar winner Ali on board. Amid reports that Ali was ready to exit over script issues, Feige went back to the drawing board and hired Michael Green, the Oscar-nominated writer of Logan, to start anew. Speculation around town is that the studio is looking to make the film, now slated for 2025, on a budget of less than $100 million. A deviation from Marvel's big spending strategy. And does that kind of mean it's going to go on to Disney Plus? Could do. Straight to Disney Plus, which doesn't really make sense. They think they'd throw it into into theatres. I mean, they might do. I'm just speculating, but don't spend as much on it. Throw it into theatres and make a lot of money back. But they don't think like that, do they? Yes, Hayden Planetarium. Yes, Hayden Panettiere or something in it. That's the name. But anyway, she was really nice. And then in that Scream film, her hair was bloody awful. But in Hero, she had lovely flowing hair. Because she was a cheerleader. With Iger publicly acknowledging the downside of a Marvel TV glut that diluted focus and attention, the keepers of the comic book empire are considering some drastic moves. That's the TV shows, though, are just boring for the most part. They are, though. That's just it. Now, these days they are, anyway. Well, they seem to be. The keepers of the comic book empire are considering some dramatic moves. Sources say there have been talks to bring back the original gang for an Avengers movie. This would include reviving Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, both of whom were killed off in Endgame. But, it's a multiverse now, isn't it? They can just bring one back from one of the old universes, can't they? But it'd cost them, wouldn't it? Oh, hang on, something else going on. Sorry. Where were we? They're killed off in Endgame. That shouldn't be a stumbling block. In comic books, beloved characters are often killed off, only to be resurrected thanks to the power of things like the multiverse. Yeah. Nobody's ever truly gone. But the studio hasn't yet committed to the idea. If it were able to bring those actors back, it wouldn't come cheap. Sources say Downey Jr.'s upfront salary for Iron Man 3 was around $25 million. Well, yeah, probably even more now. And I didn't like Iron Man 3, to be honest. I wasn't a big fan of it. I wasn't a big fan of Iron Man 3. Anyway, well, that solved Marvel's Majors problem. When the Quantumania actor was arrested in March, Disney executives insisted that they could afford to play a wait-and-see game, given that Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, I'll say it the American way, wasn't expected to begin shooting until early 2024. But then Majors, how long is this article? I think we're nearly done. But then Majors was dropped in quick succession by his publicists and managers. He remains a client at WME, the agency where he landed, after CAA parted ways with him pre-arrest for his brutal conduct towards staff, says one source. CAA declined to comment, obviously. In April, cracky. My voice went funny then, didn't it? In April, Other alleged domestic violence victims of Majors began cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The DA. I wish we had stuff like that in Britain. We just have chief superintendent and stuff like that of the police. We don't have DAs. Then, ahead of a key hearing in October, media outlets, including Variety, obtained a court filing that referenced a police incident in London involving, speaking of DA, London, involving Majors that led his ex-girlfriend to seek medical attention. Making matters even stickier, the ex-girlfriend also worked on Quantumania as a movement coach, and the London incident took place while Majors was shooting season 2 of Loki. On October 25th, a New York judge denied Majors' motion to dismiss the case, which ensures that the actor will stand trial in late November. His legal team is attempting to keep some material in the case sealed. A studio source notes that regardless of the actor's legal issues, Marvel already had considered moving away from a Majors-led phase because of the box office performance of Quantumania, which will struggle to make a profit. Excuse me. They should do what Gary from Nerdrotic said in his show that happened a few hours ago. They were saying the last episode that we've seen from last week, it ended with a big explosion. And, it seemed like, oh, no, it's the end of everything, a huge explosion. They should just end it there, not show the final 2 episodes, and just say, everybody died, and then move on. Do something else. Which is what they should do. Make a clean break with that explosion. Anyway, I forgot where I was now. I'll start there. A studio source, that's it, which will struggle to make a profit. It gave people pause given that Quantumania didn't exactly land, the source says. On October 27th, Disney removed another Majors film, Searchlight's Magazine Dreams, from the release calendar. And I think that one, is it Magazine Dreams, where has it been shot or something? And people were saying, it's an Oscar-worthy performance from Majors. Anyway, recasting Majors is also an option, as Feige did when he replaced Terrence Howard in Iron Man 2 with Don Cheadle. And also, don't forget, they've replaced, they had to, but they've replaced William Hurt, because William Hurt died, haven't they? So they replaced Senator Ross with Harrison Ford, haven't they? For the upcoming... whatever he's in. Is it a film or a series? Can't remember. Is it the Captain America one? Is it that one? Can't remember. Anyway, in fact, Marvel isn't afraid to change direction, even after making splashy announcements. Armor Wars was first unveiled as a series and is now being developed as a feature, while the studios push to adapt the comic book Inhumans into a feature film, generated headlines, but is now dormant. I'm just going to say about the series. The now defunct Marvel Television mounted an Inhumans TV series in 2017 that ran for 1 season on ABC. And I think I saw the first episode and I didn't watch any more. That was a big thing, wasn't it, when that Inhuman series came out, because it had Captain Pike in it as Black Bolt or whatever they call him. It was supposed to be a big thing, wasn't it? They even, one of the early things that they showed the pilot, the first episode at the theatres, didn't they? Or it could have even been an IMAX. I don't know. But it was crap, apparently. As I said, I think I just watched episode 1 and didn't watch the rest. Still, there was one... we're nearly done. Yes, we are. Right. Still, there was one bright spot in 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which were very good, which became Marvel's biggest draw of the year with $845 million worldwide. The fact that it was directed by James Gunn, the guy now running rival DC Studios, was lost on no one. With Marvel, it used to be as close to a guarantee as you could get, says Paul. Oh my God, the Garabedian, I bet I've got that right. I'm going to say it again. The Garabedian, a box office analyst at Comscore, So going all in on the budgets made sense. Guardians 3 was a bit overlooked in how successful it was. But that had James Gunn and Chris Pratt, and I think star power is becoming more important. Then there was Quantumania, with 2 M's this time, with $476 million. Anything under $500 million is viewed as a disappointment. Yes, because it loses money, especially when you're spending $250 million on a film, and then you need another, $150 million advertising. So let's call it, that's 400 million straight up that you've spent on your film, but they get less. Well, in America they get about half back, don't they, from the theatres. So if it makes $1 billion, they get 500 million from the theatres. But overseas they get even less, don't they? Especially in China, where they get something like a quarter of the ticket sales, don't they? Anyway, so anything under $500 million is a loss, and quite often a big loss. Anyway, and these overreaching expectations are a result of so much success over the years. The key to reinvigorating Marvel may lie with the superhero arsenal that Disney acquired during its 2019 purchase of 21st Century Fox. Pardon me, I mean 20th Century Fox. What would it call 20? I don't know. That deal brought several blue-chip heroes such as the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. You know, the Fantastic Four, where they had Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange, and then the Multiverse of Madness, and they just spaghettified him and made his brain explode. Stupid film. Back under the studio's control, already fans are geeking out about next year's Deadpool 3, which unites Ryan Reynolds' Merc with a mouth with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I'm looking forward to that. I just hope it's not diluted, under Disney. Anyway, and the reboot of Fantastic Four slated for 2025. As a bonus, the Fox editions give Feige an opportunity to reimagine the X-Men franchise, the very property he cut his teeth on as a young executive at Lawrence Schuler Donner's production company. Now that the WGA strike is in the rearview mirror, Marvel has started talking to writers about bringing the X-Men into the MCU fold. But remember, there were all that weren't there, about they're not going to call them X-Men anymore because, that's sexist and they're not all men. the X, they, thems. Oh, God. We'll see what happens. They've got to call them the X-Men, haven't they? Because it's a brand name, innit? They've got to say that. They've got to call them that. But there'll be some smart ass. There'll be something in the script where one of the characters will say something about, we're not all men. I don't like being called an X-Man. Anyway, while Feige recalibrates, the rest of the industry is anxiously hoping that Marvel's best days are not behind it. Writing the Marvel obituary would be ill-advised, says Jason Squire, Professor Emeritus at USC's School of Cinematic Arts and host of the Movie Business Podcast. Kevin Feige is the Babe Ruth, like the baseball things, don't they, of movie executives. And Marvel has the most profitable track record in movie history, no question, and that's it. And there's loads of comments. Right, so that took a while, didn't it? Nearly an hour to get through that. Because why not? Why not? It's only a brand. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't like the brands unless, they can get something off of it. So they want to use a brand name to push something, but they'll change everything apart from the brand name. But anyway, never mind.